Rugby is a contact sport similar to football, but in other ways very different. It's the only sport that Indiana Wesleyan has like it right now. Meet Nathan Sayag. He's currently the coach and captain of the Jackalope Rugby Club.
One, there's not currently a contact sport, so for the ex-football players, ex-wrestlers, cross players that like need some way to get that aggression out, it's a really good outlet. But more than that, like, it's a really good way to just kind of create, like, I guess a brotherly bond, if that makes sense. Anytime you're on a sports team, like if you've been on one, you know what it's like to like go through all the hard work and then have it pay off. The same way in like drama or musicals or anything else. But just like the community and I guess the group aspect of it, like we have prayer cards that we hand out after practice. It just has another guy's name and phone number on it, and like during that week you have to contact him, you know, meet with coffee or during chapel or whatever, and just, you know, like, hey, what do you need prayer for? What's going on in your life? And just things like that that make it more than, you know, playing rugby and winning, which is fun, but there's, you know, the friend and the community aspect too. We haven't officially approached the school asking for club status. There's a lot of aspects that go into becoming accepted as a club at IWU, and the primary obstacles that we have are insurance, use of facilities, being that the field space is already really constricted with varsity sports and flag football, and just there's a lot of other aspects involving a club, especially when it's like full contact. So we're working on getting to that level, but we haven't formally approached the school because we're not going to waste their time and resources if we're not completely ready, and I'm not really going to, you know, we're not going to waste our time putting together something that's incomplete. When the whole thing started, I saw a couple people on Goodman Lawn throwing a ball around, and I irresponsibly skipped class because I hadn't seen a rugby ball for a long time, and it kind of just turned into a, you know, see you next week type of thing, and then friends started telling friends, and we informally started. A lot of the guys on the team, it's spread by word of mouth. Obviously the people I lived with, I kind of harassed. I was like, you really gotta try this. Like, I know you played football in high school, you wrestled in high school, whatever, but like, you gotta try rugby. And we've had a few kids, I know that like, one that wrestled in high school who's like in love with it now because, you know, there's no wrestling here, and another one that played corner in football, and another kid he was a lineman in football. He goes, I finally get the ball. Like, that was his big deal. The thing I like best about rugby is there's not a specific like build or like prototype of a perfect rugby player. Our captain in high school was like 6'2", 160. He was just a stick. And we had another kid who was maybe 5'3", 140 pounds. And if you tell someone that, they'd be like, there's no way that kid can play rugby. But it's more of like an attitude rather than, you know, you have to be 6'2", 285, you know, and run like a 4'4", 40. Like, they have standards in football you have to meet, or like standards in other sports where you have to be a certain body type, or you'd never survive as a cyclist, or you'd never make it as a tennis player. There's big, small, tall, skinny, like motley. It's kind of just kids get thrown in together and they figure out where they fit. There's definitely support within the administration, within like faculty and staff, that they would love to see rugby like come to our school in like an official status, in that they enjoy seeing students create something for themselves. Like, I do paperwork and everything else, but like all of the guys that put in hard work and go to practices and carpool and drive, and the ones that, you know, like the first semester when we started that were like, let's go to Goodwill and buy jerseys and spray paint them, like things like that, where it's just, you know, you work with what you have and then you move on from there. I think there's a lot of support for that. We have students that see a need and they want it filled, so they fill it themselves. And it's just a matter of getting the logistics and insurance and financial stuff sorted out before we're officially a school club.